I'm going to come back into my floor, and we can actually start with some footings. Just to show you last year's, things got really wonky. We tried to use this, which is already on a canvas, and this is clearly a section perspective, and so it made life very difficult the deeper we got into the semester. It looks like we might be adding another level at some point. So I'm going to close that just so I don't get confused as to which one we're looking at. And now, because we have grid systems in place, we can start with some columns, and we'll do the ones that are underneath. If we look at our elevation, we are going to have them everywhere. So we might not have steel beams in here, but underneath the ground, we're definitely going to have concrete columns, either isolated or a wall, and then footings. So let's start with the actual wall. And remember, we have an overhang here with more footings. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to switch to the footings level. Oh, great. And that's not showing up. So if we want to fix this, if we look, we don't really have a section box, so I'm not sure why it's doing that, or a scope box. So I'm going to come into my floor plan, I'm going to make a scope box. I'm going to make sure it's big enough to get our elevation points and all of our grids. Now I'm going to come in east. I'm going to drag this below. And I think this is enough room that even if we add levels, we'll be fine. I'll come to my 3D view. And I'm going to grab pretty much all of it. Oh, great. It's not showing there, but that's okay. Multiple categories selected. I'm going to filter out our model lines. And now I have the option to associate this with our scope box. And so now all our grids move, and when I come to our footings level, now I can actually see them again. Although it's weird that it's cutting off the label. Huh. Alright, so I'm going to draw a foundation wall just around the entire edge, and then we'll come back and do the rest. So I'm going to come into Architecture tab, Wall, and I'm going to use the drop down. And let's see if we have, yeah, we have a 12-inch retaining. Let me turn on chain. Oh, that didn't go far enough. There we go. Alright, so we've got our outside. Now we want to put some footings on there. Let me check in my 3D. Actually, let me click here, do tab. So base constraint is footing. Top constraint should be floor. And now if you go to your structure tab and you come up to the foundation, I'm going to pick wall foundation. And Just going to click all 4 walls. Now I'm going to check my 3D view. Make sure they actually got applied. Yep, they're there. And if I come into my elevation, yeah, it's going from my floor. And I'll probably actually give this an offset later so that it's not overlapping with the floor. But that's our start. Now we can come back to the footing level. If we go to our structure column, we can pick a 12 by 12 concrete. We can say add grids. And now I'm just going to do the right to left drag, and I'm going to get all the grids that are inside of that wall we just made. Click finish. And now we got to find these in 3D mode, because as usual it's probably done some sort of negative offset. Yep. So you can see these are all actually underneath our floor now. So I'm going to do another right to left drag. I'm going to use the filter because I've also grabbed my grids here. Click apply. And now I'm going to change this. So it's going to go from footings up to the floor with 0 base offset. And now they're where they belong. And now we can apply isolated footings. So we're still in the structure tab. We've got isolated here. All right, I'm going to have to load one. So I'll try and make sure this is available in the Revit file. So it should be under structural foundations. All right, here we go. Now I can say add grids again. Same thing, right to left drag. Click finish. Do not change views until you click finish, or they will disappear. So I'm going to check my east elevation, and then we're having the same issue with them being thicker than our wall footing. So I'm just going to come into our wall footing. I'm going to edit type. I'm going to duplicate it. Call it 36 by 18. And I'll change that thickness to be 1 foot 6 inches. Now you can see that one covers it, but the other 3 are still the other type. So you need to just come into your 3D mode. I'm going to go ahead and pick all 3 of them. Make sure you hold Control. Now I can switch them from the 36 by 12 to the one we just made. Alright, great. Now we don't have any footings sticking out. We're going to make our floor. And we're going to have it come all the way out here. And we'll have to make it up as far as where these footings go. We could draw another wall here and just throw a wall footing on it. That's probably actually easier. So I'm going to come this time into my floor level. And come to structural floor. And let's go ahead and do this 3-inch on the metal deck. Actually, let's see what this one is. We'll go with this one. And I'm just going to go to the rectangle, and I'm going to use these reference lines that we put outside. And I'm just going to make my slab here. I'll say OK. And now it's asking, do we want to attach? Let's go ahead and click attach. That way they won't stick through the floor we just made. They'll stick to the bottom of it. And if I come to my east elevation, you can see just hovering over this wall now, instead of cutting into it, it stops right at the bottom. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate this distance. Actually, I'll draw a model line and see. I'm going to call that 2.5 feet in. So I'm going to come back into my floor level. I'm going to say wall. I'm going to do another retaining wall. I'm going to say pick lines. And I'm going to give an offset of 2.5 feet. And it's going to be on our footings level, up to floor. And so now when I hover in here, it should be giving me a 2.5 foot offset. Ah, that's the problem. So I'm going to say 2 feet 6 inches. And let's see if now it's smart enough. Now let's come back to our footings level. And so now we got this outer wall and this inner wall. Let's just do another isolated footing here, structure tab, or wall footing, sorry, and let's go ahead and switch it now to be the 36 by 18. Alright, so now we have this funky double structure. And from here it looks solid, but if we were to do a section cut, it would look like the drawing. And you could raise this up if you wanted. You could say base offset of 1 foot. Although that looks weird now. Oh, that was just the one. Okay, so if I do tab to get the chain of walls, and now I say 1 foot, now they're all higher. And that will look even closer to what the drawing is. Alright, I'm gonna do some steel ones now. This gets a little funky because How do you want to do it? We don't have any in these middle, but we have them everywhere here. So I'm going to show you how I would do it. I'm going to go into my 3D. Alright, let's see where they actually are. So this one is saying base level beam. I'm going to go ahead and switch here to this view. Why on earth is this not going to my scope box? And so I want to get all of these beams. And because I did left to right, it didn't grab any of my grids. So I'm going to say that it starts at floor, goes up to beam, and has 0 offset. So now they look like they're in the right place. Now I just need to highlight the 2 rows and delete them. So I'm going to come to this view again. And it's this mid row where the peak of our roof is. And that's going to be a problem because of that. So instead I'm going to go to my east elevation. We're not seeing it very well because we're still in coarse level of detail. And now I'm going to do a right and Control Z. I'm going to hide this picture for now. Alright, and now I'm going to filter out my grids. And now I'm just going to delete those. All right, we're gonna connect all these with beams going the length of the building. So I'm gonna try coming in to structure again, and this time we're going to beam. And 12 by 26 is the only one we have, so that's what we'll go with. I'm going to do it from the beam level. I'm going to say on grids. And I'm just going to go one at a time this time, rather than fight the software. I'm going to do this outer edge. I'm going to say finish. I'm going to check my 3D. Yep, that's unfortunate. It made more than I wanted. Don't recall grabbing those. That's fine. So at this point, I can either do that again, or I can highlight all of these and copy them. I can just go to my top view. I can say copy. Again, we're skipping that mid one. Coming here, coming over here. Now I just want to delete some stuff we don't actually need. And this is going to be tedious, so I'm not going to do it all on video. But what I want when I'm done is just these long runs with our verticals here and go in this direction. I don't want any cross beams yet because those are all going to be at a pitch, and in the middle they're going to cross over each other like you can see here. So they're going to continue down until they get to the vertical column on the other side. So as you walk down the hallway in between all the art galleries, you've got this kind of X webbing above you. Alright, I will make another video picking up with the main steel framing that follows this path. We'll try and make our lives as easy as possible, using mirror whenever we can and copy. So the last thing in the basement crawl space is this slab. So we have just a small concrete slab. I'm going to come to the footings level, and it's only on this inner one. So I'm going to come into structure, floor. I'm going to stick with that same one. And I'm going to come to my east, see how that looks. And I want to have this actually on the top of our footing. So I'm going to give it an offset of 4 inches. Not quite. I have this small distance, let's see. Oh, 4 1/8 of an inch, okay. So 4.125. And now it actually sits on top. All right, that's all we really need to do for the crawl space.